Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 53rd and best episode of the Hashcast. And as always, I have a guest way cooler and way more interesting than myself. And tonight I have a guest way kinder and way nicer than me. Casey, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Good, I'm good. So Casey, better known as Enderglow on Twitter, you are community superstar number 3, and I've been dying to talk to you because we have been Twitter mutuals for quite some time, I think. Probably years at this point. I don't know, time flies by, so. Can you introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about who you are and why are you so important on the internet?
Well, as you said, I'm Casey, or Enderglow on the internet. Big Easy Allies fan and community member. I don't know why I'm important on the internet. I guess I just have a lot of friends.
You do have a lot of friends.
And I make a lot of friends.
Yeah. Well, that's why I kind of want to talk to you, because my community, if I can call it that at least, and the Easy Allies community have a big overlap, because what I did was I stole all the best people out of their community and kind of wanted them to be my community. So if you're listening like, wow, this is another Easy Allies person, yes, that's true, because they are often the best, and I stole the best of them. So I want to kind of dig right into that, because it's community superstars. I think you're a superstar in the community, not just mine, but several. I think any community is lucky to have you.
Oh,
but I'm going to ask you right away, like, you go online, you watch content, why become part of the community? And not just a part of the community, but like you're one of those community members I think that stands out. I think a lot of happened in the community, so I'm just curious to hear like what made you want to become part of that online community.
For me, it really is just as simple as making friends. Mm-hmm. You know, when you talk to people, you know, in real life, which is just, you know, not online, it's hard to break that barrier of whether they like the same things as you and figuring that out, and whether you can get to that point where you can really be yourself. But when you have online communities like this, you sort of, that barrier is gone. And it's like, I know you like this, you know, I like this, and we can immediately start talking about it and getting to know each other on that deeper level because we already have that connection. Yeah. So for me, when I start liking something like Easy Allies, that's a way for me to get to know people in an easier way than it would be for me in real life, because I'm very shy and in real life, which may not come across on the internet because I'm always really ready to make friends, but it's because that sort of barrier is broken down. So I can just come to you and be like, did you see the latest podcast? Like, did you watch Kyle's stream? You know, whereas, you know, I can't do that in real life. I have to be like, how are you? Yeah. The weather's great until you get to that point with them.
Yeah. So. Yeah, well, I think that's interesting because like I can see how it feels to be part of a community, but then like, how do you do that first step? Because you say you're a shy person in real life, but I've seen you, like, not just online. You have put yourself into several real-life friendships. I always find it feels weird to, in 2019, to say, like, real life versus online, because it's so interconnected nowadays. But just, you know, for the old people listening, that's how we talk about it. How did it feel the first time going to like a meet and greet or meeting the people that you've been talking about so long?
It was easier because I made this friend. Her name is Amanda, and I met her through the Rooster Teeth community in like 2014 or something. And so I had her. Yeah. And so the first time I ever went to like a community meet and greet or anything was I flew down to Texas to see her to go to RTX. Yeah. So it was a lot easier for me because I had her with me. So I had that connection where I was like, I don't need to be like afraid or like worried about getting to know people because I already have someone. Yeah. So I think that is what and I've always had someone to go with when I go to something like that. Yeah. Like when I met the few allies that were there at PAX, you know, I had my friends Gray and Noah, who I'm sure everybody knows, with me. So that makes it a lot easier for me is to have people I already know with me to sort of be that barrier between me and everyone else that I don't know yet.
Yeah. I kind of want to hear more about the Rooster Tooth community, because that group has come up on my show so many times. Like I feel like there's something magical about the community of Rooster Teeth. Like I had Jackie Izawa, who was the community manager there, on the show like a while ago. But why was it the first one? Like, was it back then in the internet when it was still like forums and stuff? 2014, I don't remember. It feels like ages ago. I think so.
I didn't use them. I'll tell you that. I made all my friends through Tumblr actually back in the day when I had that. I don't know. I think it's just they have a really big presence. Like one of my friends from school who got me into them, and So I started watching their content and getting really into it, and then I started making friends through that on Tumblr, and talking to people who also posted about them and being like, did you watch this video, everything, which is what helped me come out of my shell, because for a long time, I would not send asks to people on Tumblr or reply to people's posts because I was nervous and I didn't want to bother them or anything. But eventually I just got to the point where I was like, I need to start making the first step and like actually trying to get to know people. And I did. And so I would, go into people and ask and be like, hey, did you, see this? I really like what you said about this. Your gift sets are amazing, stuff like that. And just really trying to actually make connections instead of hoping people would do it for me.
Well, that's good, right? It's especially in like when you get old like me, because you're like a baby compared to me, of course.
I'm tiny.
Like it gets harder. Not harder maybe, but it doesn't get easier for sure to meet new people, make new friends, because you kind of get into the rut of your everyday business. Like you don't get to meet 100 new people often. No. So when you become part of this online community, which is scary in a way, I think we're getting better at it, but like I remember in the old days when you would meet someone off the internet, people were sure you were going to get murdered, which you didn't.
When I met Amanda, my mom was like, how do you know she's who she says she is? And she was like, her parents have to be there when you meet her in person, and I have to be there. And I was like, okay.
How old were you back then?
But they've gotten a lot more.
If you want to age yourself, you don't have to.
It was, oh goodness, I know I was not 18 yet, so I was young.
No, but that's funny though. That's funny. It worked out.
Yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah, she was who she said she was, so everything was fine. And everyone who I've met in person has been who they said they were. So
I
never had an issue.
I don't think I've ever had that happen to me where someone was like completely different. I still remember the first time I met someone over the internet, and I was like 15, and she was like 27, and it was kind of weird.
A little.
Yeah, like I'm from the Netherlands, so everything is a little different there. But that was certainly weird. Oh, the internet back in 1997. But I married the girl that I met over the internet. So.
Which is so sweet.
Yeah, it is pretty cute. It is pretty cute. So you're this person. You go online. You have all these passions. You go look for content. What is the stuff you like? Like, why did you end up at like Rooster Teeth, Easy Allies, the Hashcast, of course, big a fan.
I'm a big fan of you.
Wow, cute. But yeah, so what is it? Is it personality based? Is it content? Because the content is so wide that it's easy to catch something you like. But what is it?
It's definitely heavily personality based. Like with Rooster Teeth. I always tend to latch on to like one person from a specific thing. So like with Rooster Teeth, I was a really big fan of Ray. So when he left, I stopped watching Rooster Teeth. Because I was like, I tried to keep watching Achievement Hunter, but I was like, it's not the same. And I was here for Ray. That's how I found that out. And when Joel left Funhouse, I stopped watching Funhouse. I was like, my core people are leaving. And so, it's definitely personality based. And I love all of the 9 allies very much. And I think they all have something unique to bring, but even like, I obviously love Kyle's streams. I do art for them as much as I can. But even sometimes he'll play a game and I'm like, I can't watch this. Like, I love your streams, but this game is so boring. I can't. I'll see you next game. See you next week. I can't do it. So it is partially content based. Like there are some things where it's like, no matter how much I think you are a great, funny, hilarious, entertaining person, I'm not going to sit through this. Happens with Ray's streams too, but
and I guess that's fair enough. So you met a couple of people. Have you ever met? Have you been to the Easy Allies mini grid? Have you met your not heroes, but the people that you dig into their content? Did you get some FaceTime with these people?
Yeah, I've gotten to meet Ray at RTX, which was awesome, and I've met Kyle, Ian, and Brandon at PAX, and that was amazing. They were all incredibly kind. Very, very sweet. And I've met a few people from like Rooster Teeth and Funhouse from the 2 times I went to RTX. So a few times I've gotten to meet them, which has always been super exciting. And
how does it feel the first time meeting someone whose content you've been watching for years and years and years?
Scary. I was so nervous when I met the allies. I genuinely thought I was going to throw up, which is like so silly. When you look back on it, it's like they're just people and they're just super sweet and kind. I was just like, I don't know, I'm always worried that I'm going to make a fool of myself or whatever. So I was like,
I make a fool of myself all the time, so you don't have to worry about it. I remember meeting Kyle for the first time, and it was at the Starbucks, and I was like behind him in line.
That's so
And it was because I barely recognized him. And what was fun to me, like Kyle and I had this slightly antagonistic relationship because I was doing the buttons thing, right? And I was always giving him a hard time. So, and then I started doing hashtagging, but we never really talked about the transformation happening.
Yeah.
So I started like, hey, Kyle Bobs, and he was like, oh yeah, you extremely tall person, because Kyle is pretty tall as well, of course.
He's very tall.
So I was like, hey, I'm wow, hashtag, and he was like super polite. But it was very strange, and with him, it was the first time I felt a little angsty, I guess, because I felt that weight of on my button shoulders, I guess. But yeah, they are all extremely nice people. So
see, when I met Kyle, I asked him for a selfie, and he said, "I don't take selfies with people with Funhouse phone cases."
Oh,
but he took a picture of me. He was joking,
okay.
But it made me laugh a lot.
That is funny. That is very funny. So you've done those things. Do you feel that? How do you feel that relationship changes after you kind of get to know these people? Because you've been part of this community for years. Like, you do art, they get to know you a little bit. How does it work?
I don't know. I personally don't really feel a change. Like, I know Ben follows me on Twitter and Amanda, but it's like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like... It's hard to explain, but it's like like, it was exciting when it happened because I was like, oh, this is so cool. But it doesn't really feel like there's been a shift. It's just like, I do art sometimes, and when I tag you, you like it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of it.
Yeah.
You know? It's different knowing I've met them because I feel like I know them the tiniest bit more, you know? Like, it's nice to meet someone and they're as kind in person as you think they would be. So that always makes you feel better about watching them and being like, I know that you are, at least for that moment, were a great person. And so I think that sort of helps. But
well, that's great.
I don't know.
Like, I love it when people, I always, not always, but sometimes feel like I lack the passion that some people have for stuff. So I always love it when people find the thing they just really love and it just works out, right? Because I see you make all these friends. I see you meet people from across the country and just having a great time. And that's what I kind of wanted to dig in with you. Like, I know it's important to you. The content is important to you. The community is important to you. But how much has it like changed your life to find a home in communities like that, with everything you can do now and the passions that you can be openly enthusiastic about?
A lot. I definitely think it's made me a more open person. You know, I was definitely not as outgoing as I am now. You know, I didn't used to talk in Twitch chat at all. I was very nervous, but watching Kyle streams over a longer period of time, I started actually chatting, and because I had friends in the chat that I could talk to, and now I come and chat and I'm like, hey everybody, and people know me, and I'd like make a new friend every time I go to Kyle streams because there's like someone in chat that I get to talk to. You know, there are like 2 people in chat that I only know their Twitch names, but I'm like, you're the guy who also likes SpiderMan. Love you, dude.
We're gonna talk about SpiderMan later, like a lot.
I can't wait.
Because it kind of ties into everything. Like, your home, you have, you know, the friends that you make at school, whatever. Did you always have friends that like the same stuff as you do, or did you always have that side of you that you felt like you couldn't really like geek out about as much? Because I have not zero people where I can really dig into this stuff I like. Like, I have 2 buddies I go see Marvel movies with, but like, I can't talk. I wish I could play D&D, but I can't because there's nobody, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. It hasn't always been like that. Like, in middle school, you know, I had like my best friend who got me into anime, but I would like refuse to talk about anime like outside of that tight friendship because I was like, it's embarrassing and like people are gonna make fun of me, you know. So it has not always been where like I've known that everyone that I'm surrounded with either likes the same things as I do or would like never judge me for liking what I like, which is how I feel now, that like no one would judge me if I'm like, I like D&D. They're like, let's play together, you know. And so it's super empowering, and it just feels so good to have people that have your back and that like the things you do, and even if they don't, they support you 100%.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing about community and gaming in a way, where you can find those people with the same interest. And like, I know there's also a lot of garbage in this space, but that's why I like highlighting the stories of things that go well, because like it sounds odd, but I followed you for a while, and I see how much more comfortable you are like online, and I just love that, seeing that flourish. Like, just girl, you go, Spider Girl, like dig into it. But I just I love talking about that, because it's such a great sight to behold, saying like, okay, now this is someone who finds their home in a community and who tries to make it better. Because that's the downside of community is, it's great when you have your little cliques often, even within the community, but then sometimes something goes wrong, and I think that's when the real gems shine, when you are willing to address what goes wrong in the community. How hard is it? Because I've seen you being vocal about, even in the communities you love, saying, ooh, you know.
Yeah, and there's a lot of oof on my Twitter. That's why I had to post so much Spider-Man to balance it out. It's hard, you know. At the beginning, I was very nervous, because calling out, you know, bad behavior in the community, or calling out certain actions from the people you watch, is scary. You know, you don't want the people that you look up to not like you, or to think that you're annoying or causing trouble where there shouldn't be trouble. You know what I mean? So it was very scary at first, but having my friends around me also speaking up is what helps, because I know that if I say something, they will also say something, or they've already said something and I'm just here to back them up. So that helps. And also, Easy Allies is like I might cry saying this, is like the most home I've ever felt. So I don't want it to be, you know, tainted or anything. You know, I want to keep it friendly. I want love and respect to be the vibe and the only vibe. You know, I want there to just be friendliness, and I want everyone to get along, and I just want us all to have a good time. So when we aren't having a good time, you know, I want to address that and make sure we are.
Like I said, it's hard, but I think you're at a level where you're still comfortable doing that. Do you get, like, I'm not gonna throw anyone on the bus here, but like, do you get a feedback? Do you feel it's appreciated when you are part of that voice, or is it just like this little ball of like influence that you can have in your bubble, and even that is good enough? Or I know this is a tough subject about something that you love so dearly, but I love it when people stand up for the things they want to keep wholesome and pure, and all the things. But at the same time, you don't have to feel like you're policing, because it's not your job, right? You're not the community manager. So how do you ever go like, okay, this is the battle I'm gonna pick, and this is just something they're gonna have to deal with themselves? Or like, do you feel you have enough support there from the community owners?
There are times where I'm like, it's just too much to even go into, and I'm just gonna leave it alone. It's hard when your community doesn't have a community manager.
I know.
So, you know, you say it's not your job, but also who's going to do the job when there's no one to do the job. So that's why a lot of times I feel like I have to speak up, because there's no specific person to do that for us. You know, we have to do it ourselves, or it's not going to get done. And I don't want to, you know, throw people under the bus either, because obviously everyone is lovely. But there are times where it's like you feel heard but not listened to. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I hear you. I've heard what you said, but I haven't really listened to it and processed it and thought about a solution for whatever the problem is. And it's gotten a lot better, is what I would say. You know, we have the gay Discord, is what we call it, you know, for the LGBTQ plus community for Easy Allies, and Ben is in there, and we've had some talks with Ben, which has been really enlightening and really helpful. And Ben is super willing to like listen and work on stuff, which is amazing. And you know, you couldn't ask for anything more. So it's getting better. And I think the main issue is not having a community manager, but that's something only time can fix, really, because you need the money and
time and money.
You know, exactly. Which is not in abundance for them right now, which is unfortunate, but it's how it is. And just have to keep supporting them so they can get that
exactly,
done.
get that Patreon money out. But you mentioned like personality is extremely important for you when it comes to the content and the stuff you like. Like, what have you? Do you think interacting with these people and watching these people be themselves and be comfortable with who they are, has that helped you become more comfortable with who you are and how you express yourself?
Yes, I actually letter to him because I was like, you and like Huber and all of you saying that you unapologetically love what you love is really inspiring to me, because I'm still not all the way there, but I'm trying to be, where it's like I'm not going to be ashamed for tweeting about SpiderMan on my main Twitter account. Like, I'm just going to do it and y'all can live with it. And it's hard because I don't, you don't want to like annoy people and you don't want people to think you're just one thing, and there's all sorts of mental barriers that you have to sort of break down before you can just actually be yourself and talk about what you want to talk about. But watching them do it has helped. They'll go on about Gundam or whatever for like 4 hours, and it's like I want to do that. I want to be able to do that and not care what anyone thinks about it or says about it.
Yeah. Well, that's great, because when I had Ian on, we talked about that briefly, saying about it's a two-way street, right, for them as well, seeing how much they support.
That was a great episode. Wow.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes. I love Ian. I'm gonna meet up with him at E3 just to meet, because I never met him for some reason. And it's a two-way street because like he understands that him being himself helps. Like up to now, everything he's done, but the support he gets there makes everything easier on the other side as well. So how important, like you support this group of people and you get a lot out of it back. Do you think you can ever do like that for anyone else? Saying, because I see how supportive you are. Do you ever feel like I can bring this love and everything I have to other people who don't need, like, kind of want to talk about role models here, but don't like the word. So you look up to these people because they have brought you so much. Now you have a bit of a name in the community as well. Do people ever come to you now saying like, hey, it's so good to see how comfortable you are, and I see you tweeting about this, and do you feel like that you're able to pay it forward in a way?
No one has ever come to me and said that,
no?
But I mean, I would hope so. Yeah. No.
That's
well, besides you earlier in this podcast.
Of course. Yeah.
I know, I don't really see, I think the thing is that I don't get a lot of, I'm really happy to see you tweeting about this. I get a lot of, I'm really happy to see you being with your friends and spreading kindness. Yeah. It's mostly about me being a nice person, which I'm like, well, we should just all be nice people. Yeah. It's not hard. But so that's usually what I get if I get anything. But I mean, I would hope so. Yeah. I that's what I want. I want people to feel like they can talk about whatever they want, and that hopefully I can push that forward. Yeah. I think I might have gotten something once where I don't know, that they said that they felt better about doing fan art because I do it so often, which makes me happy, because I'm like, because I know some people get nervous about doing fan art because they're like, I don't want to seem weird. Yeah. And I get that 100%. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, how would you feel if someone did fan art for you? Yeah. It's like, I'd feel great.
Yeah, it only happened like once or twice, and it's the best.
I know when Ray Lawaz on Twitter did birthday art for me, I was stunned. I was over the moon. I was like, I can't believe you just did this for me out of the kindness of your heart. Yeah. And I have to believe that that's how anyone else would feel if you did it for them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. And then the reason I ask is I thought maybe you don't even realize how important you are in this community. Because when I tweeted yesterday that I was going to have you on the show, there was a lot of love coming my way and your way all of a sudden. And I think for someone who is just someone in the community, like, you don't have like thousands and thousands of followers, the amount of people you have reached and the amount of people who adore you for what you do in a relatively small community should not be overstated. I think like you're just this person doing her best and like putting some kindness in the world, and I think it resonates with a lot of people. So don't sell yourself too short when you say like, I don't know if I have any influence in this community, because these are all people you might have met, but they're just part of it, and they see you just be yourself and have that unrelenting kindness online, and I think it means a lot to people. So don't sell yourself short. I think people should at some point probably head out to you and say like, hey, thank you so much for what you're doing this community because it's important, because it is important, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show, just to highlight it as well. Because as a content creator, and I still feel weird talking about myself as a content creator, like, we can only do this with the support of the community, right? First, we need people to listen or to watch it, otherwise we're just talking to ourselves, and that is a little weird. But it's easy for a community to go to shit unless you have the people who are, one, not shit, and two, when they see shit, they call out shit. And that is important. So
True.
that's why I said, like, you're a gem to have in a community, and just a lovely, kind person all around. But a side effect of this, and now we're going to really dig into Casey a little bit, unrelenting passion for the geek stuff. So I'm going to want to talk about all of that, because you briefly mentioned, like, you had a friend that you like to watch anime with. I still remember when anime was kind of just starting that wave. It was when I was the guy for, like, those we call them manga movies, back in the homeland. Now there's no escaping anime.
Yep.
So what was your intro? I want to hear about, like, and why the hook? Why did it get you?
I think I watched Pokemon when I was very little. Like 3 or 4. You know, I'd wake up every morning before school and go watch Pokemon.
So
I already had
gateway,
the seeds.
The gateway anime.
Exactly. Yeah. I really think Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and I guess not Digimon, really, because I don't know if that's an anime.
I don't know.
Technically, I don't know. I'm never claimed to be an expert, but I really think those two are like the gateways. It's like if you watch those as a kid, you're probably gonna like anime when you're older. And then I had that friend, and I guess I don't know. I guess she just knew what to show me because I liked pretty much everything she showed me. It was so long ago. Like, this was in like 6th grade. Yeah. So it's hard to remember what my first anime was, but I remember I also used to watch Inuyasha when I was younger on Adult Swim, which I shouldn't have done, but I remember liking it a lot.
Yeah.
So I had that, and I think it was probably Death Note that started me off with anime, which is like so sad when I was like in 6th grade watching Death Note for the first time. But
I have stories later. Don't worry. Death Note is nothing. Okay. Yeah.
Good. But I've always liked, like, I would watch CSI on TV when I was like 10, and I used to watch all, like, A Haunting, and like I watched ER when I was like 4, you know, so like my mom has never really been super policing about what I watch. So I think I've always sort of liked that genre of content, so Death Note really spoke to me. And then I sort of branched out from there. I remember I was shown Fullmetal Alchemist, which I obviously still love very much, rewatching it today. And also, it's funny, this is like the one anime where I talk about no one has seen it, because it's very girly. Shugokara, which my friend showed me, and I loved it. And like, no one has ever heard of it, but it's basically like another Cardcaptor Sakura or whatever. So, I don't know, she just knew what to show me, and I just became hooked. And I mean, I watched so much anime in the years of like 6th through 8th grade. Just because of her.
But what was, like, you said, like, she knew what to show me, but like when you talk about anime, it's animation style, right? It's but is it the characters, or like what was the thing that really, like, okay, because it's different from most other entertainment, like, but what is it about? Is it the Japanese culture? What is the what was the thing really that really put its claws in characters? Yeah,
because, like you said, it's very different. So you get a lot of things in anime that you don't get in. It's like characters, and I don't know how to describe what I'm thinking about, but like, you know, like in Soul Eater, like people can just turn into weapons, and like you don't see that in like American TV, and that's awesome. And you know, in Fullmetal Alchemist, the main character just has, you know, basically prosthetic limbs, which is pretty, even I would say, progressive for 2008 or whatever. That's something you also don't see. You know, you don't see all these different things that Japan brings you that we don't get. You know, we're very, I don't want to say safe, but like we don't have that much fun. You know, superheroes is like the closest we get to what anime does on like a regular basis. So I think it's that, like, it's just more exciting. You know, they do a lot more.
I wonder how our experience is different, because when I grew up, like anime, manga, that kind of started happening when I was 14, 15 years old. Probably completely different category that I was being aimed at, because I got the weird stuff. Like, Like and that has resonated until now, where every time I hear about anime, I always think about the weird stuff that was in the beginning. It was very aggressive, highly sexualized, and on the other side, people are growing up on like the Pokemon entry gateway.
Yeah.
But I think that was just what, like, I was in the Netherlands, so you get like a sliver of the offering. So I think they kind of aimed for the more adult market, because there's a lot of that too. So that is always my association with it. Like, I hadn't seen a Pokemon episode until I tried watching it with my daughter now when she was like 3. And it's super cute. But it's not like Akira and even way worse stuff that I've seen when I was 40. Like you say, you shouldn't have seen Black Note, the stuff that I was watching when I put the tape in, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe it. Boy, do I have stories. But it's funny to me how you can like grow up on the wholesome, gotta catch 'em all anime, and then it's probably less weird now than me growing up with like the weirdest monsters and stuff. Because now I don't really watch it. Like I think I tweeted about the other day that I tried it, and I picked the wrong thing. Like the first Netflix thing that came up was like Seven Sins or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was the worst. It was the worst. But then I watched One Punch Man, and I actually quite enjoyed that. Like that is
awesome.
Something I really enjoyed. But so anime, super mainstream now. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
you can watch it now. Fine, that's just part of life now. Let's be honest. Dungeons and Dragons is an all other level of like geek fandom, which also is now super getting popularized, which is great. When I had Greg Tito on my show, it's hard to describe how it went from like nerds in their basement, you know, the hardcore stereotype, to now seeing extremely cool voice actors having one of the biggest shows on the internet, I guess. Do a Kickstarter where they get like $14 bazillion in an hour.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah. How did you get into D&D?
It was Easy Allies. When they were game trailers, I watched Tabletop Adventures and absolutely adored it.
Yeah. That's
super loved it.
I think that's my gateway as well into getting interested as well. What was it about tabletop? Because again, like, one thing to watch a show, hey, this is enjoy because they're fun characters and it's basically watching improv, to I'm gonna buy the books, find a crew, and play myself.
It really was just someone asking if I wanted to, and I was like, I was like, you know, I think I would. Yeah. Like, it seems fun. Which is so funny because like I'm still horrible at RP because I just get so nervous. Like, for some reason, my brain just cannot fathom pretending to be someone else. It's like, but you're you. And I'm like, well, I know, but like right now I'm not. And it's like, no, you're you. If you try to be your D&D character, I'm not going to let you. So it's really hard. But I really like combat. I really like D&D combat. And I really like the stories you can tell. Like, when you have a good DM, which I do, you get so much out of it. Like, it's basically like having a part in writing your own book. That's how fun it is. And that's sort of what I took away from Tabletop Adventures, is like watching their character growth and stuff. And it's like, even if I'm not great at RP, like, my character is still going to go through growth based on the events that happen in the game. And I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to like be a part of my own little story. And
you're playing with people that you've met online through the community.
Yes.
How long have you been playing now?
I think we just crossed a year recently.
That's awesome.
So it's been a while.
Do you play weekly, bi-weekly, or it's just every now and then?
We don't have a set schedule now because everyone's so busy. It's just whenever we're all free, we try to fit it in. We used to be weekly, though, when all of us didn't have like jobs and whatever.
And I'm gonna quiz you a little bit there, because you said like you still have trouble RPing, and then you said no, it's you. How much of yourself do you put in a character when you build a character, make a character, play a character?
A lot. Like, when I, like, you know how in role-playing games, like, you get to make your own character? I'm always just me. I'm just like, it's me but with pink hair because I want pink hair. Like, that's how I am with every game. So it's a lot of me. Like, with my D&D character Terra, the parts of her that are me are her offensive only battle strategy.
Yeah.
Because I cannot play a character that is like stealth or defense. Like in Pokemon, I'm all offensive moves. I am all offense all the time. So it's like I have to play a character where that fits their personality, so that it's not out of character for me to be like, I use the spell and I do, you know, like 80 damage. I'm like, because I have to do that. So I have to fit enough of me in there to where when I do certain things, it won't be out of character for whoever I'm playing.
Do you ever get like therapeutic moments when you play a character and you put yourself in a situation that's like, oof, that's a little too close to home? I don't know how many orcs you have in your real life, but you know what
with my sort of like my D&D character now, like her family sucks, and I can like minutely relate because I'm like not on good terms with my father, so it's like relatable, but for the most part, not particularly, just because when like D&D situations in real life don't tend to mesh, so there's not a lot of this, because you know it's a lot of like big events and like big fights, and not a lot of like the small personal stuff that would hit close to home.
No, that's easy now.
So.
No, I had a conversation before about someone who uses D&D in like a clinical version where he teaches people to express themselves, and
that's so cool.
He's working with autistic kids to teach them social skills through D&D. So there's and that's why I got extra interested in D&D, because there's so much you can do, right? And I am starting a campaign soon with some very cool people.
That's so
it's going to be pretty sweet. But what's your character that you're playing right now?
So her name is Terra. She has like a first and last name, but spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Because when she left her family, because she was like, she has super affluent, wealthy, like very strict parents who expect a lot out of their children.
Yeah.
And Terra is not that. She's very rebellious. She's very like, I'm not going to listen to your rules, and I'm not going to be who you want me to be. So she left home, and she basically denounced the name that her family gave her, and was like, I'm just going by Terra now. And she's a demon hunter. She lost her arm in a fight with a demon, so now she has a metal arm, and she also modified her metal arm so that it can shoot fire.
That is awesome, first of all.
I know, I love her so much. She has purple hair, because. She's a warlock, so her patron is the Demogorgon, and she's like, she's different from, like, if you watch Tabletop Escapades, Ian has a different type of warlock than me, because you can pick certain like packs, and so mine's like Pact of the Beast, Pact of the Tome, I think, actually, because I wanted more spells. So, but yeah, she wants to know about her patron because she doesn't really know a lot, and that's where her whole family has gotten their warlock powers from. So she's trying to figure out, you know, where her powers came from, trying to figure out what, you know, deal her family made. And also, she has recently found out that she might not be who she thought she was been the whole time. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding her self-identity. There's a lot going on with Terra. There's a lot going on.
Is this something people can watch, or is this just a closed group where you just play and there's no...
Unfortunately, it's closed group.
Yeah?
I wish, just because I want everyone to meet Terra, because I adore her. But just for us and you. Yeah. Very soon.
Very soon, yeah. I will join, hopefully, at some point. Excited. It's going to be awesome. And kind of why I asked is, like, do you ever, like, I know you do art. You do fan art. Do you do like art for yourself, or do you always have like that reference that you do it for someone? Because I think you're very talented. Do you ever consider content creation yourself? Because I think you're a lovely person. You have such a great imagination. When I hear you talk about your character. Any plans, wishes, or desires to get out there yourself?
I don't know. I'd have to get a lot better at art first. I don't think I'm quite at that level yet, but I do some. I mean, I'm usually doing art for other people, but I do like, I've done art of my D&D character just for me. Sometime, like, my most recent thing that I did was of Pepper Potts from Marvel, and I just wanted to do Marvel art because after seeing Endgame twice, I was like, I gotta get my feelings out somehow. So I was like, I gotta draw. So yeah, but I've done a lot of art for our campaign just to
Mm-hmm.
make my D&D party smile.
Yeah.
But I'm about to do some really sad art for them.
Oh
That's gonna make
no.
them cry.
Oh no, that's
Mm-hmm.
sad. I would love to see you do some cool OG stuff out there and just I don't know, do a podcast. You're such a pleasant person to talk to. I think you would kill it.
Thank you. You know, me and Spencer did talk about doing one a while ago, but it just never went anywhere. But I would like to do a podcast just because I think I'm funny.
You are funny,
So,
and
thank you.
you know it's important to have all these voices out there to get it done. Like we need people like you in the community, and then you can start your own little community, and then you can highlight your own superstars.
True.
Yeah, you should. Well, I'm not going to tell you what to do at all, but I would tune in. That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to steal your podcast thunder, but we'll see.
Oh man,
I would.
I have so little thunder. You can grab whatever you want. Nobody's going to notice.
Well, you are Thor.
I am.
That's how much.
I am, especially now. With I just tweet about it, like how much I like the new Thor. And now we're gonna start into like real geek out. So if you're here just for MCU, SpiderMan, and Endgame talk, spoilers, I guess, because I'm not gonna hold back on this conversation.
Okay.
So
I'm whatever you want.
spoilers.
I'm following your lead.
Feel free to
Awesome.
go nuts. MCU. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start from the beginning? Like I know you've been. You're a fan. You're a super fan. I'm not sure if you just watched for Spider-Man or that you've been along for the whole ride. Let's get your origin story on why MCU means so much to you.
Okay, so I did not start with Spider-Man.
No.
I started Spider-Man in the MCU is what made me love Spider-Man though.
Okay.
That's where I started loving Spider-Man, but not Marvel. In fact, you know what's very funny is like I think Iron Man came out when I was in middle school,
Probably.
and I remember my friend Nate said that he'd seen it in theaters like 3 times. In middle school, me was like, why would you go see Iron Man more than once in the theater? Like that's so dumb.
Yeah.
In middle school, me was so like elitist, and then I think it was in high school. I was like, you know what? Out of the blue, I was like, I'm gonna see what Iron Man was all about. I'm assuming that another MCU movie came out around the time or something, but I have no idea what sparked me just going back and watching it.
Yeah.
But I did, and I watched all 3 Iron Man movies in a row, and I was like, oh no, I really like Iron Man. And I was like, oh no, now I've got to watch. And then also at that time in high school, Avengers came out. And so everyone was talking about Avengers, and I was like, and then it came out on Netflix, and I was like, well, I guess I'll watch Avengers. And then I was like, oh no, I really love the Avengers. And then I went on a Marvel journey and watched everything that was available to me. And I loved it.
Yeah, it is pretty like this has been discussed on like several thousand podcasts at this point, but it's such an achievement what they've done.
Yes.
Like you said, okay, all of a sudden you love Iron Man. Is it Iron Man the suit, or is it Tony Stark, or like how do you relate to that character? Because we're gonna go through probably several characters here, but yeah,
it's definitely both. The thing that sticks out to me the most about Iron Man, the one part that I always remember, which is only like 20 minutes long, is the beginning of that movie where he's in that cave and he has to figure a way out by himself, and he just makes a whole suit. Like that is so to me. Like watching that movie, I was like, this is insane. And watching it back, I'm like, this is insane. And and rewatching it now with more MCU knowledge, seeing Tony's character growth just in that one movie is fantastic. Like I love seeing him go from this just no care billionaire to realizing that what he's doing is a detriment to people, and him realizing like, oh, I need to make a change, and I need to, change my worldview and not support this. The thing that I don't like about Iron Man is Tony comes back from almost like a near-death experience and is like, hey, I don't want to sell weapons anymore, and everyone in his life is like, yo, you ain't right. You need to like fix yourself and then come back and we'll talk. It's like your boy just came back from like a month in a cave alone, almost dead, and you just are like, no, you're dumb. Something went wrong, and it's like it makes me so mad.
Corporate America.
Yeah, they're all about that money, which is so funny that Tony is the only one who's like, I want to change my business plan and not profit off of mass destruction.
Yeah, I guess like if someone would actually do that, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down that way too. That they were like, no, you're off the board. Like we're taking all the
True. It's very realistic. It's just infuriating because I'm like, can you just have some compassion for your friend, Brody?
Oh, old Brody. So Tony Stark grow up, because I tweet about this. 10 years is a long time. Like, a lot has probably happened in your life as well in that decade that they've been making this movie. What kind of milestones did you have before we go further on, like why you love Spider-Man and everybody else? I should have led with this, but like, what milestones have you gone through in the MCU saga?
Quite a few. Graduated high school. I graduated high school and community college at the same time, so got my high school degree and my AA. And then I graduated college and got my bachelor's. Learned how to drive. Met some of the allies in person. Met multiple of my online friends in person. So lots of stuff has happened to me. Got my first job and then lost my first job because it was seasonal. So
that's fine.
Out. But so I've had a lot happen in 10 years.
Well, it's like, I'm an old fart, so I don't feel like I grew up on these movies. Like, I was already pretty out there. But when I looked at it, like, holy shit, a lot has happened too to me. Because, like, I moved countries, I got married, I got a kid, I bought a house.
Wow.
I guess that's when in your 30s, then, like, those are milestones, or like a lot of milestones in a short amount of time, and then nothing for the next 40 years. But no, like I said, it's amazing.
You started a podcast.
I was like briefly talking about my career in video gaming, and it's been a crazy ride. Like, I started with a fake cat Twitter account, and now I actually work in video games PR, which is just nuts. But the craziest thing can happen if you're a little lucky. Thanks, MCU. Maybe they were responsible for it as well. Back on track, because before we go down that rabbit hole, I don't want to talk about myself because it's all about you. Tony Stark, Iron Man. What was the second big one? Like Avengers?
Probably Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw that in theaters or not, but that movie, I think, might have changed my life. Yeah. Like, that's the first Marvel movie I ever watched more than once, because I don't watch movies more than once, usually. Because I just remember everything that happens and I get bored. Yeah. But Winter Soldier is never boring.
No.
Like, Noah made the most accurate Winter Soldier tweet ever, which is just that it's the sexiest movie of all time, and it's true. Everything that happens in that movie is just like, what are you doing? Like, this was the peak of modern cinema. Yeah. Like, I love that movie so much.
I remember so little of that movie. I've only seen it once. But I do remember it's more like a Bourne movie than a Bourne Identity kind of style spy chase.
Very movie. Government, like, subterfuge. Yeah. Like, you can't trust who you thought you could trust. Like, which is why I just recently, yesterday, I watched the Russos talk about the biggest moments in Marvel history, and one of them was the elevator fight scene in Winter Soldier, and they talked about, like, what they want to do with that movie was, like, sort of subvert Captain America's character in a way, so because he's always been that, like, perfect soldier, so they wanted to make it so that he didn't know who he was fighting for anymore. Yeah. So it's like, he thought he was fighting for S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's like, just kidding, we're Hydra, which I think is super interesting. And also, like, just the whole movie is just wrenching your heart out every
I didn't see that Russo video. Did they put their own moment there where they pretended to be gay and made it a big deal? No,
no, thank God I would have turned the video off.
That was terrible. Dear Lord. But I think enough people have dunked on that, more than enough. And I'm not the right dunker for that. But okay, so when I should rewatch Winter Soldier because I remember so little of that.
Wow, please, it's so good.
Yeah. So good. Okay.
The ending sequence just makes me cry every time.
Is that the one where he sees himself?
Near death and he's like...
is that where Bucky goes into the museum and he...
That's the very end. Okay. But before that, like, they're fighting in the big helicopter and Steve's like, like, you know me. And he's like, I'm with you till the end of the line. And then Bucky, like, remembers him and doesn't kill him and, like, drags him out of the water so he doesn't die. And it's just like, oh my God, he remembered you for that minute.
With the whole helicarrier is crashing down in the... Okay. That lake has had a rough time, man, in the MCU.
Yes, it has.
Dear Lord.
I mean, so is New York. New York just can't catch a break.
Poor New York. Oh my goodness. Okay, but speaking of New York, let's go to Spider-Man, because that seems to be the big one for you.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Why Spider-Man? Is it Tom Holland? Is it Spidey? Is it... Because now you're playing Spider-Man as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just had to boot it back up again. I'm probably going to start New Game Plus tonight.
Oh, boy. Why Spider-Man? What is it?
It definitely started with Tom Holland because I thought... Because my first introduction to Spider-Man was when he shows up in Civil War. And I was just like, he is so adorable. Like, I just want to protect this boy. Like, he's so cute.
Yeah.
He's so excited to just be a hero.
Yeah.
And the line he says in that movie where he's like, once you have these powers, when bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to play football, but I couldn't then, so I shouldn't now. I was like, this is so...
Yeah.
I love that motivation for wanting to be a hero. And from there, I played the game, and there was this one comic that I read on Tumblr that, like, I cemented it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember all the specifics, but I know he stops this kid from committing, like, a petty crime. I think it was probably theft. And he starts tutoring this kid because he's having problems in school. And so Spider-Man just comes to his house as Spider-Man and just tutors him in math and helps him out. And it's the sweetest thing in the world. And then the kid dies.
Oh, God.
And he, like, has to talk to the mom, and she's like, thank you for what you did for him. And it's, like, the saddest thing I've ever read in my life. Cried my eyes out. But, like, that the small thing is just, I was like, this is a superhero for me, where it's like, it's not about, you know, like Tony Stark is all about big, grand, you know, gestures, and, like, I want to be the savior of the world. And Peter is just like, I just want to help people. Like, he doesn't have to save people necessarily, he just wants to help people and make the world better.
Is this like canon comic, or is this a fan made?
I'm not sure, but I think it was, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, it could be. It's good either way. Like,
but even if it wasn't, like, it's the spirit of
Spider-Man. The character
so
pretty well,
exactly. And then, you know, playing the game, it's the same thing where he just, like, and I don't know, his relationships with people, like, you know, in the game, you know, he works at Feast, which is like they help homeless people, and it's just like, even in his personal life, like, he just wants to help people. Like, no matter what he's doing, he just wants to help. And, you know, his job is trying to help people who have lost their limbs, like, you know, get new limbs. And it's like, he's just always doing what he thinks is right and always trying to help people, and I love that so much. It's I love him.
He is a good I guess he was one of the most known, like, again, like, I'm from Europe. Our comic books are not the same. Like, we have a completely different set of comic books. So the superhero, we are aware of them, but only, like, S tier, like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. That's about it. Because they're on TV, they're movies, they're imported shows. Otherwise, it's all Suske and Wiske and Asterix and Obelix in Europe, which probably doesn't mean anything to you. Well, Asterix maybe. So for me, the MCU is kind of the stories, right? So I have zero insight in the source material.
No, me either.
Okay, so you didn't read.
I've read 2 Spider-Man comics because after watching, like, the Spider-Man movies, I was like, you know what? For Spider-Man, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to read a comic book.
Which one did you pick up?
I think it was Spectacular Spider-Man, and it was from 2018. And it was really weird because, like, Peter comes back from the future to, like, tell past him what to do. It was, like, really weird, but it was good. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I haven't read any since, but I might someday.
Like, okay, maybe stick to the movies. Although that has,
it's just hard. There's so many comics. It's like, I don't know where to start. It's just like, it's someone who's good at comics, just send me the good Spider-Man ones.
Talk to Blomkamp.
Make it easy for me.
He probably has a couple of suggestions for you, but then he's just gonna send you weird Batman shit and Punisher. Even though he has no authority to talk about Batman because he doesn't know what's good or not.
Don't get me involved in your Batman beef. Wow.
Hey, man.
I don't know anything about Batman.
Beef is the best beef. How excited, on a scale from 1 to 11 billion, are you for Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yeah, off the charts.
Off the charts.
Can't measure it. I've already watched the trailer more than once, and I watched it yesterday again. And when he runs up the wall and backflips, I screamed. Yeah. It's like I've already seen it, but I just like, Spider-Man.
Are you willing to theorize with me about Spider-Man Far From Home for like a couple minutes?
Yes, 100%. Okay. 100%.
So,
let's go.
Everybody's saying like, oh, you shouldn't trust Mysterio's word because he's like the ultimate liar and trickster.
Yeah, my friend Nathan, who's like a comic guy, and he's our DM for D&D, DM'd me and was like telling me all about Mysterio and the comics and stuff, and I was like, oh my.
Yeah. So he said, okay, don't believe the whole multiverse, different Earth story. I think they're doing it on purpose, so it is actually real. So they say it's real, and then people think, oh, it must be a trick, but it's gonna be real. I think the black Spider-Man that we see, like in the black suit, I don't think that's our Peter Parker.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Because
that would be insane.
Because there's no, like, we see our Peter Parker, ultimate, like, just the spider suit. We see him in Iron Spider suit, like, when he's still in New York before he goes on trip. And then there's black suit Spider-Man.
What an interesting theory. Yeah. That's so exciting.
Like,
what if we get Spider-Man v. Spider-Man?
That's what I'm going with. I think that's what we're going to see. What if...
Oh, my God.
What if the mask goes off and Miles Morales...
Oh my God, shut up. That'd be so exciting.
That would be cool. Because that's what I heard, that Mysterio's biggest move in the whole universe is bringing Miles Morales into the universe, right? Into the Spider-Man. That's all hearsay, so maybe it's complete bullshit and I just believed it.
I mean, everyone is also saying they're setting up Secret Wars, which I had to look up because obviously I don't know anything about the comics. And, like, let me tell you, the original Secret Wars, from reading about it on Wikipedia... is just a Marvel Battle Royale. Some guy from, like, outside the universe looks at Earth and is like, whoa, look at all these weird villains and heroes, and puts them on their own planet and is like, fight.
That's pretty cool.
That's what Secret Wars is. And I was like, what?
I'd be down for that.
But, yeah, I mean, I'll watch Marvel Fortnite. That's fine.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great for Disney Plus.
But apparently...
like a 10-episode throwaway.
True. You're right. Yeah. But apparently in, like, the newer Secret Wars... that's also how Miles gets introduced. So your theory is probably, I mean...
You never know. I don't know, maybe I'll go back to the trailer and he doesn't even wear gloves and just white hands. I don't remember that at all. So definitely don't take anything here on the Hashcast for, like, truth, because that's just bad advice to begin with. But yeah, no, I'm super excited about the movie. I got tickets July 3rd. I couldn't go on July 2nd.
Like, the theater that I go to didn't have them when everyone was literally because the theater I go to is like a small chain. So like they have like one in like a select few states, and they have one in my state, but it's not the one I go to. And that one had pre-orders for Far From Home, but not the one I go to. And I was just gonna lose my marbles. I was like, if this movie sells out and I don't get to see this day one IMAX, I'm gonna lose it.
You're gonna lose your Marvel marbles.
I'm gonna lose it. I am going to lose my Marvel marbles.
It'll be good.
Well, I can't wait a day more.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm more excited for, seeing the movie or seeing your tweets after the movie. Because they're going to be like super well covered up spoilers excitement. I'm really looking forward to that.
It's going to be a lot of caps.
Yeah. Speaking of what you're excited for, what are some things you're looking forward to? Because 2019, we have a lot of cool stuff coming out with games, movies, TV shows. What are some things you're looking forward to this year?
I'm excited for Pokemon to come out.
The game? Or the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The big one on the Switch?
Sword and Shield, that's what they're called. Yep. Excited for that. I need some more Pokemon in my life. Really excited for Animal Crossing Switch now that I've gotten back into Pocket Camp. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about it, but I'm excited. Well, I played New Leaf, and I played it a lot more than I remember playing it. But the gameplay loop of Animal Crossing is not fun for me. Yeah. Because it's real time. And it's I can't wait 6 hours till to actual tomorrow. To
actual tomorrow.
Farm more bells, dude. Yeah. Actual tomorrow. I want to do stuff now. Yeah. I play Fortnite. I'm ready for high action. But Pocket Camp's game loop is great because things refresh every 2 hours. So it's going back and new stuff happens. So I'm hoping that they take some stuff from Pocket Camp and smoosh it in and just make it just, don't have microtransactions because I'm going to go broke.
Looking forward to that too. And you're oh,
yeah.
Sponsor me on Patreon.
I'm going to have to start a podcast to pay for my Animal Crossing addiction.
That'll be great. More personal question. 5 years from now, where do you want to be as a kid? Because I always ask my guests this, and it's often career based, and we're not talking about your career here, more about you being fantastic. Any life goals that you have over the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, I do want a job, which I'm working on. Yeah. I've gotten the offer, but we're still in the hiring process. So technically, I sort of have a job.
That's cool. What kind of field are you in? Or you don't have to I'm gonna do this field, but what would be your dream job?
My dream job is to be a behavioral analyst for the FBI.
Okay, let's dig into that. Where does that come from?
I really like true crime. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and my mom also loves true crime and like horror movies. That's where we really connect, as we watch horror movies and stuff together. But she watches that stuff before bed, and I'm like, bro, I have to have at least 5 hours out so I don't have nightmares.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love like my bookshelf was full of true crime books and stuff, and I wanted to get a major in criminal justice, but my college didn't have that, so I went for psychology instead. But yeah, like looking into true crime, I've always wanted to be that person that is like, this is the type of person that would commit this crime, and this is who you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like that seems so exciting to me. It's it's like a way to help stop crime and to like catch people without putting yourself in harm's way. Because I'm like, I can't be on the police. Like I can't be doing any of that. I'm fragile and weak and scared.
Yeah.
So it's like a good way to be part of that process and help and be in a field that I'm really interested in while also not putting myself in danger.
Yeah. So when I combine those interests, like how excited are you about Detective Pikachu? Because there's like...
Very excited. I'm sad that I have time to go see it this weekend. I might try to swing it tomorrow.
Yeah. I hear it's pretty fun.
I want to play the game now, but I don't know if it's good or not.
We'll see.
I tried to crowdsource on Twitter, and no one would answer me. So
no, that's not a good sign. Not a good sign. Behavioral analyst. That's pretty. I think Becky Taylor, Oh My God, Laser Kittens, used to do that before she got into the game industry. Might be a fun follow for you. Yeah, but that's cool. Any path towards that, or is it just something like pipe dream might happen one day, or is it something you're actively working towards?
It's mostly a pipe dream because I think I'd have to go back to school, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And also, I think you have to go to Quantico to be in the FBI, and
probably,
leaving home frightens me.
Well,
That's why I went to college like half an hour away from my house.
Yeah, well, it is scary. Try moving across the world. That's interesting.
I know. Like, oh my goodness, I'd be so scared.
Yeah, it's fun. You'll be fine. You're right. You're a tough cookie. I had a lead with this, but I completely. Oh yes, a true crime podcast. That would be perfect for you to host one.
I know, but I did talk to my friend Mike about it at one point because he likes horror movies and he had a horror movie podcast. But it's just everyone has a true crime podcast now. I don't know what I would talk about.
I don't know, just stuff that you find interesting. Like even if you have 2 listeners, you just get to talk about cool shit every week.
True.
Crime.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, you should.
I'll think about it.
Anyway.
Maybe I could do a true crime book podcast. I don't think any of those exist.
Yeah, or mix some stuff to make it unique, like true crime Pokemon. I don't know, but it's like I said, Detective Pikachu right now. But you have true crime and wine. You have all kinds of cool stuff. I'm just really trying to push you here into content creation because you're so awesome. But
you're wonderful.
Thank you. Anyway, I don't know. Like, I would love to see more of you, and I hope you get to do what you love, and that you hook the job, and that you can keep growing and being amazing, and that you just find a way to make the world better as you already do, but like on large scale. Maybe you should be a billionaire and then just fix the world for everybody. I don't know.
Oh, I'd love to be a billionaire. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
Then I could meet SpiderMan if I had money.
Man, you could be SpiderMan. Build the suit.
See, I would be a billionaire, and then I would be paying all my money to Marvel to be like, just put me in like one scene with Tom Holland, just like one.
Well,
can just be like an extra.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah. You should just, I don't know, go to Disney for the rest of your life because that video was great. When the whole cast was there.
I know. It was so cute. I was like, God, I want to be there so bad. Yeah. And I've never been to Disneyland either, so it's like I want to...
No, I've only been to Euro... I've never been to Disneyland either, just in Euro Disney. It doesn't count, it's super small. But that's good. But, so, we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about your role in the community, stuff you're passionate about. The whole package, to me, is like you, Casey Enderglow, such a lovely... person. You find your home in the community, which allows you to be yourself as much as you want to be, like really dig into your fandom and your geekness, and I just love that. I love that about you, how well placed you are right now. So I hope everything else, the details like jobs and all that stuff is going to work out for you as well, and that you can live your best life as you wanted, because you deserve that absolutely. With that, I'm going to try to close my show out because I never know how to, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to to podcast and shill, is there anything you want to promote? I know you're wearing a Boxpeak shirt right now.
I am.
Yeah, it is I can't see it probably because I cut you off in the show. But there we go. There it is.
Boom. Boxpeak. Go watch it.
Yeah, because that's your Twitter name. Is that your official shilling for Boxpeak?
Yeah. You know what? Let's do it. Go watch Boxpeak.
If people don't have no idea what Boxpeak is, what is Boxpeak and why is it awesome?
Boxpeak is a show created by one person, Mr. Kyle Bossman, made entirely of paper puppets. And the stuff that he manages to do with paper puppets is incredible. He has a box with a robot arm made entirely of paper, which is insane. You know, there's a lot of really interesting things done that I would never have imagined to be capable of being done with paper. And it's basically Pokemon, but instead of, sending Pokemon out to fight, people have competitions where they are each in a box and you peek. Yeah. And I think you have to peek for 6 consecutive seconds and then you win, but you can counter peek. It's like a whole thing. Yeah. The point is, it's hide and seek basically, but boop, boop, boop. Yeah. And it's great. Yeah. It's great. So all the drama of like an anime, but in paper form.
And I know it's almost impossible to describe this show because it sounds like
so
nonsense.
Weird.
But I watched it and I love it. It's such a creative thing. Not just like how it's built, but the world has rules and the show lives by the rules. And it's just wholesome as fuck. Like, let's be honest.
It's so cute.
It's absolutely great. So I'll go on with you on that show to watch Boxpeak. So no, that's great. I love the shirt. I love everything about it. So go check it out. And if you're listening to the show, and you are, because otherwise you wouldn't hear this, I am the Hashtagonist, and this is the Hashcast, where I have cool guests every week and highlight the people that I love in the community, as Casey today. Community Show Casey I was going to call the episode first, but I want to have some consistency in my titling, so I'm not going to do that. But Community Show Casey would have been cute. So thank you for listening. Casey, thank you so much for showing up. It was a delight to get to know you a little bit.
Thank you so much for having me. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to just talk to you for an hour, shoot the shit, and get to know you a little bit, because it's one thing to tweet back and forth every now and then, and it's another thing to actually have a conversation, because this is the first time I hear your voice, I think. Maybe I've got it before, but it's been an experience. So thank you for coming, and if you're still listening to me ramble closing out the show, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at the Hashtagonist. Casey at Enderglow. Your name has been on the screen, but in case you're just listening to that, just find it on Twitter. It's a delight to have on your timeline. And follow her back. I mean, she deserves like 1,000 followers a week at least, because it's the best.
Oh,
all right.
Thank you. Wow.
Well, I'm gonna let you be for the rest of the night, because it is 10 p.m. here, and I'm gonna call it a night as well. So until next time, and thanks for listening, and see you soon.